Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We're going to learn how to create a basic form. Then we'll learn how to create form elements for text input and go through some basic attributes. Right in front of you, you can see an empty document. I'll make a form for looking up tours. All form elements must be enclosed within the opening and closing form tag. The opening form tag has several attributes. We'll start by looking at the action attribute, which determines the way form data are processed. It can either contain a script or an email address to which we'd like to send our data. Form processing is quite a difficult process, so I won't go into detail here. For now, I'll just add the method attribute with the post value within the quotation marks. This is the most common setting used by forms. Keep in mind that the post method is especially handy for processing larger data sets. We have now created the blueprint of the form, but how do we insert some concrete elements into it? I'd like to create a text box for inputting the desired destination. I'll start by entering destination label. Now I'll insert the input tag, which is generally used for creating a large number of different form elements. It's an unpaired tag, so I'll close it immediately. Next, I'll add the type attribute, which determines the type of element we'll be inserting into the page. I want a text box, so I'll type text between the quotation marks. We can give it a name so that we can identify it easily. Let me add a name attribute and set the value to destination. After hitting the refresh button, we can see a text box with its description. I can now type in any destination I want, so I'll type in Grand Canyon, United States. As you can see, the whole string doesn't fit into the visible part of the field. It will be necessary to enlarge the field. That can be easily done by using the size attribute. The implicit value of the size attribute is set to 20. In order to increase the length, we have to type 30 between the quotation marks and hit the refresh button. As we can see, the text field has gotten bigger and the destination name is now legible. Now we're going to learn how to set the maximum number of characters allowed in a field. I'm going to add a line break and create another form element. This time I'll ask for the date of the tour in the mm/dd format. The maximum character length is therefore 5. I'm going to add the max length attribute by typing 5 between the quotation marks right after the opening input tag. As a result, I'll only be able to type 5 or fewer characters into the field. Now I'm going to refresh the page and type in the date 10/12. I'll try to keep writing. Although I haven't stopped writing, no further characters are displaying. The same limitations apply to pasting from the clipboard. Once again, I'll now enter Grand Canyon, United States into the first field. Now I'll attempt to enter the same thing into the second field. As we can see, only 5 characters have been entered. This attribute is useful for data with predefined character lengths. Examples of these are dates of birth or bank account numbers. Occasionally, we need to pre-enter some text into the form. This is what the value attribute is for. It may be the way to help your visitors fill out the form. For instance, you may want to pre-enter the text, "Enter your destination," into the destination field. I'm going to insert this text between the quotation marks and refresh the page. As we can see, the newly loaded form already contains text without my having to write it. So far, we have seen text fields with a height of 1 row. But how do we make more extensive fields with a height of several rows so they can be used for leaving comments, for example? I'm going to erase the current code and start by writing the opening and the closing text area tags. Above them, I'm going to place a label saying, "Your comments." After refreshing the page, we can see that these tags have already created a small basic text area. Since this one will be used to leave comments, I'm going to add the name attribute and supply the name comments, enclosed within quotation marks. Now we're going to learn how to change the dimensions of a text area. The width is given by the COLS attribute, with COLS being short for columns. I'm going to set the value to 60 and refresh the page. As we can see, the text area became significantly longer. The height can be easily changed using the rows attribute. To set up the height, I'm going to insert the rows attribute and set it to 8. After refreshing the page, we can see that the height of the text area has increased. Now I'm going to leave a short comment in the text area. As we can see, the comment takes 2 rows. What would happen if it were longer? To demonstrate, I'm going to insert the comment into the field 4 more times. Once we reach the end of the visible part of the text area, a scroll bar shows up. As you can see, we can supply text areas with even longer texts. Of course, text area dimensions can also be changed using CSS. If we want to pre-fill the text area with some text, all we have to do is type it between the opening and the closing text area tags. Therefore, no special attribute is needed. Using this feature, we can provide hints for visitors as to what to type into the text area. I'm now going to insert a short text in between the tags, which will say, "Leave your comments here." I refresh the page and we can see the text area now contains predefined text. In this lesson, we have learned how to create a blueprint of a form using a couple of basic elements for text input. I look forward to seeing you at the next lesson.